Hello, everyone. This is Zami Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the director of the Oregon Screams Horror Film Festival. Right now, we are gearing up for our fall 2024 event, which is going to take place on October 17th at the beautiful, historic Clinton Street Theater in Portland, Oregon. This is going to be a day of networking, refreshments, and film screenings, all on one of the best blocks in Portland. So I'm really looking forward to that. And in preparation for this event, we are talking with some of our participating filmmakers. And so today we're talking with Jason Hooper and Gregory Boone, who are the directors behind Satanimation. Well, both of you guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you said the title correctly because nobody else in this country can.
Stanimation and yeah. Well, it's such a cool movie. I was very grateful to have got a chance to watch this because you guys go all the way out with quality, over the top effects and everything. I want to know, how did you guys get involved with this project?
Jason.
So basically, I mean, we kind of all had day jobs.
Okay.
We went to Greg and I went to film school together, and a couple other of the like the producers on the project, and we were doing our day jobs and not really shooting movies, and so just kind of on the weekend we decided, we got to do something, something small. And so I mean, we started with something else, like more of a drama.
12 pages. It was 12 pages.
12, yeah,
12.
Short drama, pretty simple. But I don't remember, we just couldn't finish it, or we couldn't get the ending right or something.
No, you came back to the next meeting and we're like, no, we're doing this one.
So while working on this one, one night I just kind of wrote Satanimation. I sat down. I was like, I want to do something kind of, silly and fun. Because the thing we were doing was a little bit, it was a bit more serious.
Okay.
And so we just kind of decided to switch gears. It ended up being like 35 pages instead of what we were supposed to be doing, like 12 or 15 or whatever. And yeah, we'd never done action before. So I think we just wanted to try some things. And we thought the rotoscope animation would be kind of like a good gimmick.
Totally.
Make people want to see it. So we didn't know much about rotoscope animation before we started. But we decided just to go for that.
Excellent. Oh, well, it looks awesome. Greg, what about you? What was your kind of motivation with this project?
Jason and I had worked on, we went to school together, but also I starred in his senior project about Killer Mime. And there was some action in that, Jason. It was all fake. It was all mimed action, but, there was gunplay.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Jason and I have been friends for a long time. And yeah, we got bored. And yeah, I was shooting photo and video for real estate, and the office that I was at had a killer basement, which is in the movie.
Okay.
And,
is that the art storage?
The what?
The art storage?
Yeah, the art storage.
Okay, sweet.
That's a very old building in Northwest Portland that's going to fall down in the earthquake. But yeah, that's what it was, right, Jason? We're just bored.
I mean, yeah, bored and not shooting our own stuff. We were working, basically doing things for other people, so we kind of wanted to do our own.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so this is interesting because what I'm hearing is, two old associates. You guys want to do something with your connection and your college degree. You decide to casually make a film, but what you end up making is not casual at all. It's like over 30 minutes. It's got incredible effects. It's got a huge cast, tons of incredible locations. I mean, tell me, how did it snowball? Did you guys start to think like, wait, this is getting big. What's going on?
I mean,
Jason, I got this.
Okay. Yeah.
We started with a 10-page script, and then Jason came in with a 24-page script. And then the next time he came back, that script had become 30 pages. And every time that we saw, like every movie night, it jumped up by another 5 pages. Nice. And he broke every rule of film school for your short film. Don't use kids, avoid animation, like get your cast as small as possible.
Right.
And Jason, I mean, it worked out. It was a lot of work, but yeah, those kids we found like really, really good.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they nailed it. Could not have gotten luckier with that.
Yeah, what do you think, Jason? How did it feel? Was it just natural progression to make it so big and full?
I mean, I didn't. So I didn't expect it to be as hard as so we were, we had 2 locations essentially. It's the school, pretty much everything, all locations but the basement are at the school.
Okay, yeah.
And I had a lot of characters essentially so that I knew we could shoot sections, if we didn't have some, because we should also say we weren't paying anybody initially.
Okay, yeah.
So it was just, we were finding people that kind of wanted to work on it. So we knew it was going to be, hey, you have a weekend, are you available? Who's available? So we can shoot. So I mean, that was, I think maybe it got longer because I was trying to like break people apart. But the shooting of it definitely snowballed. I mean, we were supposed to shoot it in about a month and a half, I believe. And then
yeah, we took our vacation for 2 weeks, and we were supposed to, most of it was supposed to be in that time.
Yeah, but then it was like one of the biggest rainstorms. So it basically, we were able to shoot maybe 3 days of the like 12 I think we were supposed to shoot. And then I think we just rearranged the cast a little, and it ended up being like, instead of a month and a half, 2.5 years of shooting.
Wow.
Just on weekends, after work and stuff like that. So I mean, it was definitely not planned as well as it should have been.
Okay, totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though, because I mean, this is the reality for a lot of people who want to make independent films. Is they gotta get their team and their friends together on the weekends. It's going to be a longer shoot time. Sometimes the plans adapt, but what you guys created is something that's so cohesive and feels so finished. I would have assumed you're both working on this full time, with financed staff and crew, and there's little details that are just so incredible. So talk to me a little bit about the nitty gritty. First, I want to know about the practical gore effects. I mean, that eye gouge is pretty incredible. Who was behind those kind of things?
I did the eye gouge.
Okay.
Like we kind of brainstormed how we could do a lot of those things, but the eye gouge, I was like, I know exactly how to do this. This is going to be awesome. And we did shoot test footage, and then eventually got a budget based off of that. We did the basement scene first.
Okay.
And I will say that the first time we did the basement scene, the throat slit and the eye gouge were perfect. And it was a struggle for every other effect after that. A lot of all the latex and the blood and corn syrup sticking to people's, like my leg hair getting ripped out all the time.
Oh God.
But yeah, so even though we had makeup artists, I was, in addition to acting, direct, and produce, like all those things, also doing the makeup on set at the same time. Totally. Which, I mean, we were working 12-hour nights, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Longer than that, because we were doing setup too.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of. I mean, setup was basically you and me and 2 other people, if we could get it.
Yeah.
I mean, we should say, like, eventually, because we started shooting this, and then we stopped for 6 months.
Okay.
And kind of started over.
We recast everything except for me.
Yeah, a couple people. Beth, I think, Paige was the same.
Okay.
And, a couple of the actors.
Yeah, kind of a restart a little bit.
Yeah, it was essentially, people. We just couldn't get people ever, and so we were at the point where it's like, well, we have to start paying people because then they'll want to actually show up.
Right.
So yeah, we started paying people. Then we basically started over, and we did have a makeup effects guy for that was helping Greg a little bit. I was so not part of it that I don't really know who did what, but we did pay for a little bit of makeup help, and then I mean Greg, you had to redo the throat slit. You had to do it twice, right? And then the eye gouge you had to do twice with separate actors.
And we had to the mold for the throat slit didn't stick we could not get anything to stick to that actress's skin. It was
Mm.
weird. Like nothing would stick.
Yeah.
Different skin
Glue,
texture.
no latex, like it
Yeah,
was,
yeah. Our actress Katie, I mean, blood would just like, it would like, it just wouldn't stay on her. It would just kind of like all
Interesting.
makeup would start. Yeah, it was very difficult.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because in these independent films, that you're always running into difficulties, and it sounds like everyone's wearing a lot of different hats in the production. No one just gets to have one job, you know.
Yeah, no.
But tell me about now the kind of the elephant in the room, that rotoscoped animation, which is the main feature of Satanimation. How did that idea come about? It looks so cool.
So the rotos, so we wanted to do the animation. I mean, primarily when I wrote it, I was a big Roger Rabbit fan
Okay,
as a kid.
totally.
And then when I got more into horror films, I found Evil Tunes. And I mean, I was still a kid, but like I was like,
Right.
oh my god, this is a horror film with animated characters. This is going to be amazing. And I rented it, and if you've seen it, there is 15 seconds of animation in the whole movie. And so it was very disappointing. I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but it was incredibly disappointing. And then I just haven't seen, like kind of a horror themed, animation. So I really wanted to do that just to kind of, make up for the Evil Tunes. And then my favorite music video was the Take On Me music video, which I
Okay,
really,
yeah.
so that's when we started. We're like, okay, we're going to make it look like Take On Me essentially. And when but we didn't really know how we were going to do it. Like, I mean, I work in stop motion. I'm an editor in stop motion, so
Okay.
I kind of understand animation, but I've never done rotoscope or just hand drawn animation. And I did not realize how difficult it was. I knew it was hard, but not as hard as it was. And so the rotoscope, I thought, oh, this will be easy. We just trace, right? We just trace over the guys. And I think we planned for the rotoscope to be 2 months, to take 2 months to do it. Greg, does that sound about right?
That's what you said. It was going to take
Yeah.
2 months after we finished filming.
Yeah, but it ended up taking 6 years to do it.
Wow.
So after shooting for 2.5 years, then we started animating for about maybe more like 5 years.
Okay. So you guys filmed this pre-COVID?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. We started shooting in. I think our first shoot in 2015.
2015 was the first time we did the basement.
Yeah, and then we stopped for 6 or 7 months and started again 2016. So, I mean, so in that opening scene of the movie, there is footage. I mean, like, is cutting from reaction shots shot in 2016 to 2018.
Wow.
But yeah, and then the animation ended up 5 years, and that was really just everybody got really busy with work, and so finding animators, we started trying to find animators around COVID, so we thought it would be really easy because a lot of people had to work, but
Right.
it shockingly was not easy. And and I have to say, like, it's so much work, and it was designed by by us who don't really know a lot about animation. So
Right.
when we get these animators, it was a lot more daunting to them than it should have been, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So it's like they would work for maybe 6 months, and then we get somebody else.
Okay. So you had to keep finding people to
Yeah,
keep
I
running
mean,
through.
and I ended up doing like probably half of it or more than half of it. Just I mean, I was slow. Like, if we had an animator, they could do something in like about 2 hours. It would take me about 8 hours to do that.
Okay, yeah.
So I just had a lot of time, like after work. Well, I mean, not a lot of time, but I had time. So yeah, just slowly, every day, maybe do
Totally.
one shot or something.
I mean, it seems like there were a lot of moments where this project could have just gone into the nether and never gotten done. I mean, what was that a big risk? Did you guys know you were going to finish it?
No, I mean, after shooting and then realizing how long the animation was going to take, I mean, I think we probably didn't work on it for a year.
Yeah, you took a pretty long break.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it was kind of like too much stuff going on. But I always knew I was going to go back to it just because so many people worked so hard on it. I mean,
Right.
I mean, it's practically, I would say it's practically a student film because our crew was probably 75% students.
Okay.
For that grade.
Yeah, that's about right.
And they did it all for free. They got credit, but they
Right.
did it for free. So I knew I needed to finish it just so, all this work that everybody did would just not go to waste.
Right.
But when it was going to get done, I had no idea.
Well, that's so cool to hear. I mean, there's so many people who you're gonna meet in the independent film world who have projects and have things that they've shot, and they're just kind of backburnered it. They don't know what's going to happen. It's great to hear that even after such a long production time, you guys got it done. And I'm seeing lots of obviously you guys are fans of old horror. I'm seeing lots of references. One thing that is delivered though, that I'm a gore hunter. I love horror movies, and you're always waiting for the splatter moment, and it just comes at the very end. Or like you said, Evil Tunes. There's a little bit of animation. You guys bring the good stuff all the time. It's consistent, and I think that's cool. Another thing that really stood out to me is the choreography was great. Who's behind that?
The action choreography.
Yeah.
That Greg and I think 2 nights we went out with this iPhone and we just choreographed it with just us, right? Our girlfriends came, I think, and shot him and me kind of fighting.
In the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, we went to the alley, right? Didn't we basically shoot it just you and me?
Yeah, our first choreography though was in your backyard. And that was before we even started shooting. And then we did go out to the alley, which we kind of got in trouble for using and then got permission. Just like the basement too. We got in trouble for using and then got permission.
Blood in the basement. They're kind of like, hey man, this is not exactly what we signed on to.
Well, the owner of the building didn't realize that I worked there.
Oh, okay.
So he came from like vacation and saw like a full film crew and set in his building and like flipped out.
Totally.
But yeah, the choreography in the alleyway was Jason telling me what to do and like leading me through it. Jason's really good with the kung fu stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we were huge. I mean, I was a huge fan of martial arts films, but I kind of knew we wouldn't be able to do like a real martial arts film, which is kind of why Greg's character is kind of like just like kind of a goofy like kung fu fan that probably practices while he watches martial arts movies or something.
Right.
So we wanted to have some good choreography, but it's not some really trained guy.
Okay. Well, it's cool. It's bizarre to hear because it all reads so professional. I thought you guys were going to talk about some choreographer you flew in from LA to on the ropes. I love this. You guys are just going to the backyard, punching each other, figuring it out, and then going down and actually filming it. And I also wanted to ask about the costuming, which I really enjoyed. It's definitely that 80s costuming. Where did you guys acquire all that stuff? Did people have that in their closets, or what? What was that like?
So our costumer, she, I worked with her. She was an editor with me, and she, on her free time, would just go on eBay.
Okay.
She bought probably 400 times the amount of stuff we needed. I mean, super cheap, so it was never a lot of money. And then just kind of, I mean, I remember going into her office once, and there was just clothes like laying all over her entire office. She was just mix and matching, like what would go with who. I think she went to some thrift stores here in Portland because there's some really good ones in Portland.
Totally.
And so, yeah, spent a lot of time there. I think Greg, you went and picked out.
I went with her a couple times. The only thing that she didn't design and get for the project was the bathrobe.
Okay.
The bathrobe,
the slippers.
Yeah.
Everything else, she just knocked it out of the park.
Awesome. Okay, and I also have to shout out one of my favorite characters was the camera guy. He reminds me of the kid with the camera in Jason Takes Manhattan. Just this kind of like, the guy who can't put down his VHS camcorder. And then we actually get the POV, which I thought was really cool. Is that one of your guys' actual cameras?
No, that was a school's like old camera that they hadn't used in years. That Greg found, I think, somewhere.
Yeah, it was in the equipment room in the back corner. which I knew from when that was my job while I went to
Okay.
school there.
Oh
So
yeah, using the inside knowledge to get the good props together.
absolutely.
Well, tell me, guys. This movie was a long time in the making. I'm sure you've done a lot of stuff in between, starting this project. But what did you take away from this? What did you learn from this?
You go first, Greg.
Oh man. Um, I learned a lot about lighting. We spent
Okay.
so much time setting up our lights on that project just to make it look like the way it looks, which I think Jason is a little hard on himself. I think it looks awesome, but the like always make sure that you have enough crew. Like doing it by yourself, and especially with setting up lights, it can get a little dangerous
Oh, for sure.
if you don't have people like monitoring. Like our moonlight was just C stands, what, like 25 feet up in the air. It was like, and like dirt, like 2 bags of dirt on the bottom.
Well,
Not a good idea. But
Possibly a student standing there holding it.
yeah, but
there
if
you
like
go.
if we didn't have those student workers, like
Right.
it just would not have been safe for anybody. So like having a crew, finding people that want to work with you really makes the project go smooth, but it also keeps people safe, which
Okay,
is
that's good advice.
yeah.
What about you, Jason?
I think the thing that kind of got to me the most was just the animation and not understanding, really the best way to shoot for animation. I think the thing I learned mostly was that, having an animator at the beginning would have been really nice, like to
Mhm.
basically kind of tell you like, hey, this is going to be incredibly difficult. I mean, just like things with, focal points,
Right.
and like how you're gonna, decide to put something out of focus, or what, or if something's gonna pass in front of something else. We had a guy there, just kind of dressed in something, basically the costume, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it was a cold night. If it was a cold night, we let him put on a skin tight shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You still see the muscles and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that was the hardest. The part where he wore the shirt was the hardest for me to do, just
Yeah.
because.
It was also 18 degrees. So
No, I mean, we had to let him do it,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, that would, knowing a bit more how that works, rather than just kind of being like, hey, I like this, we're gonna do it.
Totally. Well,
However, if I would have learned more about it, I probably would have said, oh, we can't do this.
exactly. I mean, I think that's the key here is that you guys went in, totally got in over your heads, broke all the rules, but you ended up with something awesome. Probably wouldn't have existed if someone actually sat down and said, "Yeah, this is going to be 6 years in the making." Well, tell me, guys, are you working on anything else now? I'm sure there must be some ideas cooking.
I got a couple scripts. Jason,
Okay.
you got a couple scripts?
Yeah, we're gonna try to transition over to a feature soon,
sweet.
maybe this winter. I just finished a job, so I'm taking a little vacation
Excellent.
for a couple weeks, and then yeah, hopefully it'll be horror, most likely. That's pretty much horror and action, sci-fi
Okay.
when we start getting budgets.
Okay. I didn't hear animation there. Are we done with that for now?
Uh, yes. Animation is probably done for a while until we have a really big budget.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Another collaborative thing happening. As a final question, I kind of just want to ask. I love seeing films that are shot regionally and maybe sort of espouse a little bit of the regional idea. I mean, when I see stuff that's shot in the Midwest and it's about the Midwest, I see stuff shot anywhere other than LA and New York. I'm pretty interested in being a local. I really love seeing stuff that's shot here, sort of proudly filmed entirely here. I want to know, is that something that you guys think about? Is that something that you want to do for Portland and Oregon? Bring a bigger film scene, or what was that factor into your thoughts at all?
I mean, Oregon's our home. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't really like traveling for work. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Like stay in a hotel and you're away from your pets and all that stuff. And everything around Portland is just awesome as it is. Like we have every terrain that you could possibly want
Good point.
within 2.5 hours of Portland. That being said, if a location like the perfect shack is up in Washington, I mean, we'll go use the shack.
Okay, totally. Do you have thoughts on that, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I like it here in Portland. I mean, the weather is hard to shoot. It's
Okay,
really
yeah.
hard to shoot, but I mean, we've gotten pretty used to it, I think. But yeah, like he said, there's just so many great locations, and you know, and for horror, it's such a good setting. You know, the woods. We have so many woods we can go to and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I primarily plan on mostly shooting stuff in Oregon.
All right. Well, I love to hear that, guys, and I really, really enjoyed this film. Thank you so much for talking with me. I know people are going to just explode in the theater when they see this because it's ambitious, it delivers, and I think it really speaks to a lot of the stuff that the film viewing and horror community in Portland love. So, thank you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to your next film project.
Awesome.
All right.